Okay, hi everyone. Good evening. How are we doing today? It's been an amazing time. How we doing? I missed you guys. I hope you guys missed me. It's been like 2 weeks now. But how are we doing? How is our learning going? I hope our learning, I hope our practicing. And upcoming, we're gonna have like a design, like for group you guys into groups, and then in your group you have to come up with a solution. There are more details will come on Friday. So let's get ready because we're gonna be working on our individual digital products. So I hope you guys are excited. I hope you guys are excited for this class. I'm happy to be here. You guys happy for this week. I'm doing well. I'm doing good. I got a number of you guys messages. Thank you. If I haven't replied, just kindly send another message or email. Um, Today we're going to be talking about designing for different devices. And before I dive in, maybe I should just ask, okay, what have you guys learned so far? You guys update me. What have you learned? I hope you guys are enjoying the classes because that's kind of the point. So how's it been? How are you all doing? How are you doing? Hey, okay, try messaging me. Maybe I missed the message. How you guys doing? How are each and every one of you? How are we doing? How are we doing? By God's grace, English not fail me today. In Jesus' name, amen. So how are we doing? What have we learned? Okay, Heroic said he learned prototype. Okay, awesome. Who else? Just for the next 2-3 minutes, just tell me what you've learned before we start. Victory, you're fine. Awesome to hear that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, each and every one of you. Good evening, all of you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So, okay. Okay, Smiley said he or she learned about accessibility in design. All right, that's amazing. Since we have a slide of, okay, Abigail said she learned about wireframing fundamentals and UX writing. Our lecturers are fine. No, everybody is fine. I'm good too. We thank God. All right. So today we're going to be talking about designing for different devices, and I'll try my best to explain as much as possible. Okay. So let's dive right in. Our time was already gone. Okay. So today's agenda, we'll be talking about devices and interfaces. What are even devices and interfaces? What is responsive design? What are the benefits of responsive design? What are the 4 C's of responsive design? And then we'll have our Slido quiz. Okay. So let's start with. I refuse to be distracted. Okay, so let's start with devices and interview. And thank you guys for the comments. I really appreciate it, and I'm glad you're all learning. Okay, so let's continue. So let's start with devices and interfaces. What is a device and what is an interface? So a device, simply put, is a physical hardware or tools used to access and interact with a digital product. Throughout this learning path, we've been talking about digital products, and I'm sure by now we know what a digital product is. So, a digital product is anything digital, basically, on your phone or your laptop. Could be an application, could be a software, anything digital, okay, that gets something done and serves a purpose. So, what you use to interact with them, the hardware you hold, the phone you hold, the laptop you use, the VR headset, the watch, the TV, these are the device. And yeah, is most likely physical because how else will you hold it or have it? So yeah, so that is what a device is. If you're confused, just let me know and I'll reiterate as much as I can. So let's move on to what an interface is. An interface, on the other hand, is a visual or interactive component that allows users to engage with software or applications on those devices. So we have a phone, okay, and we have WhatsApp. How do I interact with WhatsApp? Through the phone. How do I click on WhatsApp? Um, Say, send a message, type the message, everything. That is the interface I'm dealing with. So the interface is what I see. Remember, user interface, designing for the user, what they'll interact with to be able to use your application. So that is it basically. So what I would see, like, okay, how can I even use WhatsApp? You have to show me something to click on to access WhatsApp. You have to show me something to click on to type someone's name I want to send a message to. You have to show me something to click on to type the message, and something to click on to literally send the message and see if the message is sent and everything. So that is the interface, what I'm interacting with on the device. I hope we're clear. I hope we're clear. So to say that again, a device is the hardware. Interface, you can say, is the software, but basically what we interact with. So let's not forget, if it's a phone, what we're interacting with is the screen, the click on the screen and everything. If it's a TV, the hardware we're using is the remote to click on the OK on the TV, or exit on the TV, or maybe show settings on the TV. I hope that explains. So interface is the medium through which users interact with the system, and it's often part of the software or design aspect of the product. So for example, we have our mobile application, literally a digital products, but then digital products exist, but then you need to be able to interact with it, therefore the interface. So your mobile applications, your website, touchscreen interface, everything you touch, click, look at is and interact with is the interface. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's look at Netflix. Okay, I think we all know Netflix. If we don't know Netflix, we can relate this to maybe Prime Video, or sorry, Amazon Prime, or DSTV. Yes, DSTV has a mobile application, so you can say, okay, you're DSTV now. So now, if you have DSTV or Netflix, you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on your laptop, you can watch it on your TV. Okay, so the fact that I have a phone to watch Netflix, the hardware is the phone. Okay, the fact that I have Netflix, that is a digital product. But then where I click on to play a video, the button I'm clicking on, the scrolling to find the movie I want to watch, everything I'm doing to get results from digital products is the interface. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm interacting with. Do we understand? Judge me. I can't speak pidgin here, so I just have to try my best. Um, Everything you interact with, anything you see, is literally the interface. So if you want to watch a movie on Netflix, you click on Netflix app, it will open. You click on who is watching. You clicking on who is watching, I mean, you have to see what to click on. You click on it. To see movies, you have to see the list of movies. You can interact by scrolling to choose the movie you want to watch. So that is the interface, literally. And then what device are you using? Phone. Device you are using is phone. What you are looking at and touching is interface. Are we clear? All right. So now let's move on to what is responsive design. What is responsive design? So we've talked about interface, we've talked about device, we've talked about digital product. So what exactly is a responsive design. A responsive design is an approach to web and app design that ensures a consistent user experience across different devices by adapting the layout, images, and navigations to fit various screen sizes. To put in easier, simpler terms, when I have a product, I want that product to show very well on phone, on laptop, on TV, such that when you go on the TV, you're not so confused and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to sit down with my phone and watch. When I go on my tablet, I'm not seeing Netflix with, I don't know, purple color instead of the red that is on all the platforms. Everything is consistent, everything is represented well, and everything has similar things you can interact with. So you're not lost. We know what play button is, we know what pause is. If we're trying to find the settings, we're not consulting a manual. Okay, so that's literally what responsive design is. Throw away the big term. In layman terms, is literally let my product be fine on all the platforms. And not just be fine, let it be fine such that it's as if it's the same thing I'm seeing, just to fit to whatever screen I'm seeing it on. I'll repeat that. Let my product be fine on all whatever I used to view it, all well and good. But let it also be, it's as if it's the same thing. It's not as if it feels like I'm using something different. We'll look at examples over the course, but an example is like WhatsApp. When you open WhatsApp on your laptop, you still have that similar feel and arrangement like it's on your phone. So when you're looking at it on your laptop, you're not confused. Like, you know, okay, this circle is the person's profile picture. This is the arrangement is okay, circle profile picture, name, the message, probably the time they sent it, or the number of messages that have been sent, like the circle notification, everything. And then because it's a laptop and it's a larger screen, they can put two actions. So you get to see the list and you get to see where you can type a message. While on phone, because it's smaller, we can say, okay, first see the list, which comes first. And then when you click on whoever you want to chat with, you see the message. And even with web, you won't see the message unless you click on who you want to message. So it's actually the same flow, but designed to fit a different platform. So that's literally what responsive design is. The same design to fit different platforms so they look good and it's easy to use on all platforms. Are we together? Okay. So again, if we look at Netflix, we can see the format here. And I want us to look closely, okay? So on the left, we can see the picture of the cover of the movie. On the phone, we can see little things. The little things, that's the name of the movie. We can see play and add to list, okay, which is like the two primary actions on the phone. While on the TV, we can also still see the cover of the movie, which is here the name of the movie is Wednesday. And then we can see the title, we can see the cover image. Because there's more space, it can accommodate a short description. And then we can still see play and maybe more information, because I know when you click on more information, you can actually now add to lists, or maybe they've changed it anyone, but you still see your play. So if you want to play, go straight to play. But if you don't want to play, you can have more information, read the rest of the synopsis, and then add to your list if you want to. And then you see the second row on both platforms, you now get to see the list of movies. So you see it's kind of two different platforms, but they are still following the same order. So first I get to see a movie they're advertising to me. Then second, because maybe it's a phone, they can slot in more as like, okay, download the game, whatever. But then the normal flow is after the top header, you get to see the list of movies. On the TV, you get to see the list of movies. On the phone, you get to see the list of movies. And you can keep scrolling as long as you want. So that's how it's the same thing, but it's like they shrunk it for a smaller screen. And that's literally how responsive design works. So it's the same thing, not different. Not like on the TV now, you now see maybe I don't know, a list of movies and you have to scroll to the bottom before movie they're advertising to you is different from the mobile, and it's a different feel, and people might be confused that, oh, what should I do, what should I not do. This is just an example, but I hope you understand what I mean. So somehow, since people are used to the phone, they're not so confused because they kind of already have a order of steps when they use their phone. So they will just kind of follow that order of step when they are using the TV or their laptop. The same way at the top, you get to see search, and maybe if you want to cast or whatever, like other options phone related, you get to see logo and search. And then on the TV or laptop, at the top too, you get to see search and logo. But then obviously, because it's a TV and two different devices have two different ways of displaying information. So as much as you are following the same order, you are still fine-tuning it to how I relate with that device. Before we all get confused, how you relate with a laptop is different from how you relate with a phone. Why? Because of the screen size and because of the available options. Definitely on a laptop, you can get away with a longer navigation menu, but on a phone, you have a shorter menu. And on phones, you don't put the navigation on top, you put it below most of the time, unless it requires it to be at the top. So here on the phone, you have the navigation at the bottom. On the website, on the laptop, you have the navigation on top, but it's still following the said English not fail me today. It's still following the normal order of what you look for. And because you know how to use these devices, when you're looking for settings, you know where to look. When you're looking for settings on a phone, you know where to look. So I hope that explains what responsive design is. Okay. So let's move on. So looking at these two images now, based on what I've explained, can we make a guess of which one is more responsive between option A and B? And it's okay if we get it wrong. I'll just try to explain again. So let's choose A or B. Let's start putting it in the comments. Which one is responsive? Okay. And you can tell me why, so that it's not like you're just guessing. Why is it responsive? I'm seeing A. Okay. More, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but more Rex on Earth or something. Can you tell me why you think it's A? Can you tell me, Eugene too, can you tell me why you think it's A? Exactly. I think the most correct I've seen so far is by Ulua Bukola. B, because the content on the screen adjusted to the screen size. Exactly. So the first one, so as to save time, the first one is literally you're copy and pasting the website. Just like maybe on your phone, you do open desktop mode or open desktop screen or open website mode that to not show you how to look on a laptop but on your phone. It is not responsive. It is literally the same thing, copy and paste, which will not work because, as earlier mentioned, how you navigate on a phone is different from how you navigate on a laptop. However, you still want to effectively display the information on both devices in as similar as possible. Okay, so reason why A is wrong is because I have to zoom in to even read what's happening here. I can't read it because it's in the size of a laptop. It's not set for a smaller screen. Okay, smaller screen cannot have so many information because it is a smaller screen. So that's one reason. Another reason is, so I've mentioned a lot of information. It can't work because it's a smaller screen. So you have to just change the layout to match a mobile view. Two, is not like it's not convenient. You have to be, it's not user friendly. You have to be zooming in before you can view, and you can't even click on anything because your hand, it can't fit like your thumb. Like if you click on A, like I'm clicking on B, and it's just messed up. So it's very, very inconvenient to use option A. But on the other hand, for option B, we have the website merged to fit for the mobile view, and also taking into consideration how information is viewed on a mobile view and how information is viewed on a desktop. So you still have, if you look at both of them, you still have that there's no excuse, blah, 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 a man in suits. Definitely, maybe the pictures are changing, but you have your header text, you have your call to action, which is represented in the mobile, and you have your picture, which is like flexible. So from a larger shrinks to smaller. Okay. And then below we can see like a set of pictures that probably represent the fashion brand. On the mobile is more compact, or maybe instead of listing like three arranged beside each other, you can list one, two, three, like one, two, three. Or maybe if there's space for one and two and then three, instead of it being straight on. So that's like another way of merging it. So it's responsive. It's the same thing, same logo, same everything. If I go to the menu icon on the mobile, I'll see all the menu options on the website. So it's just very responsive. So the answer, as everyone has said, is option B. Option A is not because it's cumbersome. Option A is because it's copy and paste, and it's literally the websites that you just pasted on the mobile. And because that is not how you represent information on mobile, it's very difficult to view that information on the mobile. And then if we look at UI wise too, it's actually a very clustered website. So that is that. Okay, so let's move on to the next. So what are the benefits of responsive design? Before I move on, I hope we all understand what responsive design is, at least to a good extent, before I dive in more. I just need two people to admit, and I'll continue. Okay. So what are the benefits of responsive design? One is an improved user experience. We know what a user experience is. I mean, I don't think at this point we should start explaining what user experience is, but I'll go over it again. User experience is usually experience using an application or a digital product. Okay. So I want someone. WhatsApp says I can successfully let you send a message to someone. Use my product. In other words, use WhatsApp. I pick up WhatsApp. How easy is it for me to send that message? Or what are the steps I take to send the message? Am I enjoying it? Is it easy? Is it straight to the point? Does it successfully send the message? That is the user experience. What is my experience using WhatsApp to send messages? Will I come back to WhatsApp, or just go on to Telegram, or go on to Facebook Messenger, which is still owned by the same person? Yeah, that is it basically. So that is what the user experience is. If you are still confused about responsive design, the best way to say it is designing the same thing for different devices. That is it. Designing the same thing for different devices. I think that's the best way I can summarize everything. So definitely there are different steps to consider when you're designing the same thing for different devices, because different devices have their own laws and have their own arrangements because of the screen size and because of their memory and because of their display, etc, etc, etc. Okay. So what are the benefits of responsive design? One is an improved user experience. I'm not relearning how to use the website. I'm not coming to the mobile and relearning how to use the mobile. I'm not going to, even Apple Watch. I think you can send message on Apple Watch. Now I don't know if WhatsApp will work, but I know at least Apple Message will work. And email, you can reply email and all the stuff, or read email at the very least. So on any device you use to view this platform, It should be easy to understand, okay? And then one of the benefits is it's a user experience. So I just need to learn how to use the mobile, and when I pick up the website, just look left, look right, I know what to do. When I put it on TV, look left, look right, I know what to do. So that's an advantage, because if I now say, okay, I'm the wisest person in the world, let me go and change it up, be more creative, and I change the flow or I change the outlook, it wouldn't be easy for people to adapt easily. Like they'll start, WhatsApp, I don't know how to use your application, or maybe I'll just stick to the mobile, and I need you on web, so fix it or do something. But they'll say, why didn't you go to settings? But in the mobile, it's not in settings. So why are you confusing me on your website? That's literally how it is. So yeah, a benefit of responsive design, you want a consistent look and feel across devices to keep users engaged, such that even you can be working simultaneously. I don't know how many of us maybe want to send something to your laptop, so you send it maybe to yourself on WhatsApp and then you download it on your laptop. That sync is just beautiful. And then also, this also means you can easily find your way on a new device or pick up from where you left off. Just continue from where you stopped and just keep going. Okay, so another thing is increase mobile traffic. As mobile usage grows, responsive designs help capture and retain mobile users. So this is a case scenario where probably the first output was a website or a desktop application. So, or a desktop website or anything. So I don't know, but I think Facebook, when I was younger, I started seeing Facebook on laptops, sorry, on PCs. Then we used to have box like computers that will have his CPU, have his keyboard, have his everything. We still have that now, but obviously more advanced. But I think I started seeing Facebook there before I started seeing it on phones. Like, where you type, it will load before you see, maybe you type one message, everybody's queuing to send their messages or view their own profiles or check YouTube or whatever. So I think it started from website. So by the time we now move to the phone, it's easier for people to pick up for when they left. They don't have to start relearning. It's like, oh, I know how the website works. Let me just look for the similarities in the mobile and continue from where I left or where I stopped. So that's maybe a site that started with a web first approach or a desktop first approach. I think by now you know desktop first and mobile first approaches. If you don't know, mobile first means you start building from the mobile, depending on your target audience, depending on what you're creating. Does it start with a mobile phone before it needs a website or before it needs a bigger screen? Does it need a bigger screen before you need a smaller screen? So, but in this case, when it starts from a bigger screen and needs a smaller screen, responsive design is amazing because I can just continue from where I left and I know what I'm doing. Yeah. So that's how it's a benefit. So let's move on. Another is cost efficiency. So the thing about responsive design is you just design one. And I don't know how many of us knows WordPress, but I think that's the best platform to explain, like developing on WordPress or using WordPress templates. We might see Wix templates, all these create websites in 24 hours type of platforms, or create it easily, all those type of platforms. But then WordPress, I know people use WordPress to like create proper sites. So when you go on WordPress and sorry, just give me a minute. Okay, when you go on WordPress and you design a site, mostly maybe in the desktop, it's actually designing the mobile too. Like it's arranging the site as if it's on a mobile screen, as if it's on an iPad, which is so amazing because it just saves time. You don't have to start redesigning for mobile. Definitely, there will be adjustments to let it fit better or let it show better. But cases where everything works perfectly, you've saved like times two of the time. You're just halfway done by literally just designing the desktop screen. And I find that super amazing. So that's where cost efficiency comes in. So imagine now if you contract a UI UX or a product designer and you tell the person, okay, design web, and maybe it takes them like 1 or 2 months to do that. You can hand over to the developer, and maybe based on design being so having responsive elements, we'll explain that more as we go on. But having responsive elements, it doesn't even need you to do the mobile view. He just figures it out, or he just sets it, or maybe whatever platform he's using just guides the mobile view being developed and is done. I'll probably just pay the product designer for the 2 months the person worked. But imagine if the product designer does the desktop view, does the iPad view, does the mobile view, does the TV view. By now, we're already entering 6, 10 months, and I'm paying the salary every month. So I'm spending more money. And I've not even come to go and sit down with developers. So this is where cost efficiency comes in. You design once, or you design something that is adaptable, and then it saves time doing the other versions or adapting to the various screen sizes. It reduces the need for separate mobile and desktop designs. However, there are some unique platforms, emphasis unique, which depends on your requirements, your users, your goals. What is the goal of the web app? What is the goal of the mobile app? I'm sure we've come across applications that you can do some things with the mobile, but you can't do with the web, or you can do on the web, you can't do with the mobile. Exceptions that come into display that you need separate, or you need very contrasting differences. So if that is not in play, it does very much save time and money over time, like in the long run, basically. Okay, so another advantage is that it has SEO advantages. So what is SEO? SEO is search engine optimization. Before I make you guys more confused, search engine optimization is just how easy is it for your site to be found on Google. If I go on Google and I type events ticketing platform, I know Eventbrite will come up, maybe Tix and some other platforms like Eventport or whatever will just line up and show. Why did they line up and show? Is because of SEO, search engine optimization. Let me not bore you too much about this, but this is mostly on like the developer side. So when you use keywords, certain keywords, or literally list keywords deliberately when building it, it helps your site to be chosen. Just the same way you search your name, you are the only person with that name in the world or in Nigeria, so your name will come up on Google. So if you go to Google now and search your name, even if someone has your exact name, your name will be one of the lists. Maybe the person that has your name that joined before you will come number one before your own, or how popular they are depending. But because you have that name is what will show. Same way, because you have that site, and in your site you have made it clear that this is what your site does, is why your site will be recommended by Google when someone is looking for something in that area. Okay, so that's kind of how search engine optimization works. So if I want to define it, it's the process of improving a site's visibility and ranking on search engines like Google. You know what a search engine is? It is a digital product that allows you to search for things all over the world. Wikipedia, would I call it a search engine? I don't know, but something like Wikipedia too is like a library you can search from. So yeah. And then Google, even if you can say a library, kind of just connects you to people. Like it just says, yeah, come, I know what you're looking for. These are they, not necessarily Google owning whatever you do and stuff like that. So yeah. So when you are searched or something related to your company is searched, you come up. So back to what we're talking about. Responsive design favors search engine optimization because Google favors responsive designs which help search engine rankings. This is mostly on developer side, but yes, Google favors responsive design which helps with search engine rankings. So how do you make your digital product responsive? Are we still together? Are we still together? So I know I'm seeing stuff like we're designers. Yes, you're designers, but you're stepping into a technical field. So as much as you would apply design, you also need to learn the technicality behind the scenes. You need to learn how a software developer works and thinks. You need to learn how a product manager goes about. You just need to learn some things beyond design so that you can function as a product designer or UI UX designer. You need to learn how websites work. It's not, I think in previous classes we established that design is not just graphics and it's pretty. Design is deliberate and intentional. You use that X because people know X as close. You use that dustbin because people know that dustbin as delete. You use that sorry, envelope, because anytime when someone sees envelope, what comes to mind is message. So you really need to go the extra mile and learn, okay, how does a website look like? How does a phone look like? Not just, oh, I want to create the most pretty website. And to be honest, the most pretty website that is not functional defeats the purpose to why it was created. So I'll try to explain as much as I can, as I'm already doing, but let's be open-minded and understand that we'll have to go the extra mile to get to our goal. Okay. All right. So if you have any questions, just put it together. So how do you now make your digital product responsive? We'll soon go on our break by 8, so that's just a reminder. Let's start. So first, now a disclaimer, everything I'll be talking about here in this section is mostly um developer inclined things. People that have a field in programming or coding, by coding I'm saying at least basic CSS, HTML, JavaScript, or even just CSS and HTML, you would have an idea of what I'm talking about. Apparently, everything like this becomes subconscious knowledge when you're designing. So you don't have to, enter amount to design. Let me calculate this and this and this. You just know. Just like when you're cooking and your ancestors will tell you when to stop. But there are still times you literally have to pull out the calculator to know what size to use, especially if you're trying to get even spaces. But Figma helps so much, so you can just divide by 2 and stuff like that. So again, disclaimer, everything I'm going to be talking about in this section is developer inclined, but understand it because your design influences them. Because when your design cannot work on their own end, they will come back to you and you have to redesign. So that's why you should understand how it works to help them and they help you and everybody is happy. Okay, so let's start with fluid grids. Using the picture is kind of also an explanation of how responsive design works, and it's showing like from a mobile first approach. So it's showing the phone to the desktop to landscape to websites. We can see how the grids, let's even go back because personally I actually prefer designing from desktop to mobile, unless maybe it's like a mobile application and stuff. So if you look at the desktop, we can see how all the rectangles are stacked on each other. When they get to the iPad rectangle, it's kind of the same thing, but definitely we know with iPad, the menu is not listed like desktop, it's most likely listed like mobile, even if it can take the entire space of the website because it's still a touchscreen interface and it's a smaller screen than a laptop. Then we can see the we can see the iPad when you put it in portrait mode. Now for everyone, I'm going backwards, okay? So you can see the iPad when you put it in portrait mode, that's standing straight. It has squeezed a bit because everything can show. Remember, we're not squeezing, we're displaying. So it has to rearrange. The top one can spread out. The one beside it comes down. The one, look at the colors. It looks coincidental, but look at the colors. The blue spreads out. Now I'm comparing landscape versus portrait of the same iPad. The blue that was chonkolo at the left has spread out. The, or is it yellow that was at the right, has come to the bottom. The green is beside it. The pink has spread out. Can we see that? This spreading out depends on whatever you're designing, be it your Netflix or whatever you want to design, will determine how it will show. But it's just showing you how it kind of just rearranges to show a new view. Okay. And then we now look at the mobile. Mobile cannot even have side by side. Everything is just straight down. And it, like I said, as we learn, just be intentional. When you open that website, just notice how everything is straight down. They're not even trying to go left and right. But when you open that same website on your phone, you see how everything is left and right. So that's how it is. So you see on the mobile, everything is just straight down because the screen size is straight down, and then you adopt whatever navigation is best for a mobile screen and all. So that's kind of how fluid grid is. Let your grids be fluid. By grids, I'm talking about let your containers of information be fluid. Okay. So instead of using fixed units, by fixed units, whatever we're doing is measured in pixels. We've talked about pixelated and vector size, vector rasterization and pixelation. I'm mixing it up. Vector and raster images, same with vector and raster platforms. We all understand that Figma is vector based, so no matter how you zoom, it maintains the same quality. Okay, then you can measure whatever you draw on Figma in pixels, px, even if it's raster. Even if it's a vector, I can still measure in pixels. Just that when you zoom in, it won't be pixelated. Unless an image that you get the drill. So when you put that rectangle, let's say 5 by 5 pixels, I don't know why they use pixels in a vector. If you want to ask that, it just works that way, please. So 5 by 5 pixels, okay. When you're coding it, maybe 5 by 5 and 5 by 5. So we have two squares. Those are squares, two squares. 5 by 5, 5 by 5. That's 5 by 5. Every side is 5. Again, every side is 5. Two squares. Put them beside each other. Normally, they'll take maybe 50% of the screen side by side. Or maybe if you want to leave white space, they'll take like, let's say 45% of the screen. Yes, you do math when it comes to design. You'll take 45% of the screen. In design, that is not my problem. My own is I stretch it to be fill this space, fill this space. You developer, figure it out. But developer knows that if someone opens this thing on a different device, I don't want them to look for me. So no matter how large this screen is, make sure that this 5 by 5 that this person gave me takes up 45% of the screen. This 5 by 5 this person gave me takes 45% of the screen. So you have 45, 45, that's 90, and then you have surrounding 10 of space or whatever. So that's it, basically. That's how they put the grid, the fluid grid. So now this rectangle I've used could be a block of text, could be someone's picture, could be anything, could even still be a rectangle. But when they're coding it, they will usually use percentages sometimes where necessary, and it helps a lot, so that when they open it on a TV, like now you can see the iPad and you can see the desktop. It's the same thing, but it's not the same thing because desktop screen is way bigger than ipad is probably like 10 inches. You learn all this. If you don't want to learn, you can easily go to Figma frame. You see the list of all the measurements. Yes, you do math in design, not math, but you find yourself doing some calculations along the way. Don't worry, I don't need to tell you. You meet that point and you cross that bridge. It will happen. But it's not a special math, it's your normal primary school math and stuff. So now we can look at your the iPad and we can look at the desktop. iPad is at least, let's say, 10 to 11, 12 inches, while desktop is like 14, 15, 16 inches. So even though they're showing the same thing, they are not the same size because they are on different screen sizes. And that's why when you're designing, it's better to know what platform your design will be shown on, so you can choose a relative screen size for it, because it will be horrible for you to do a mobile design on a iPad and the mobile design, like it just would not work. So back to my analogy, desktop and iPad are looking the same, but they're not the same size because there are different sizes of screen sizes. Okay, desktop, let's say desktop is like 24 inches and iPad is like 11 inches. So where fluid grid comes in is developer has thought of that and said, okay, no matter how you want to show, make sure you don't take more than maybe 90, we calculated 90, you don't take more than 90% of the screen, so that there's an extra 5 and an extra 5 to make 100% of the screen. Are we clear? So same way on the iPad, make sure you don't take more than 90% of the screen, so there's extra left, extra right. But when we now get to portrait, we're already easing to a different style. So that is how fluid grids work. So you might mess but then also you can also like think this through. So when you're designing, you might not bother about this, but when it's being developed so that it's responsive, instead of relative units, you find them using percentages. And even sometimes in Figma, you might actually use percentages, like when you're looking at space between a line of text. We spoke about typography in our last class. So if you're looking at the space between two lines of text, like, hello, my name is Shekemi, and the next line is, I am a girl, the space between those two lines, you can actually use percentage instead of using actual value. Same way when you're doing auto layout. I really hope we've touched auto layout in our classes. You can also, instead of putting fixed size, you can use auto. That's an option in Figma, and then it will just be kind of spacing them out based on percentages, or it will be adjusting the size to fit whatever you created. So that's kind of how fluid grid works. So it's 5 minutes to our break. Let me just answer questions and then we'll continue when we come back. And then we'll have a quiz. So do we have any questions? Do we have any questions, or should I go on to the next before we go on break? Yeah, auto layout is amazing. It makes life so much easier. Okay, so Ayo, responsiveness is just a term to describe designing different. Yeah, Godfrey, perfect. Media query. We'll still mention media query itself. Is one of the stuff. So that's for like different screen sizes, how we should, which version of the website to show on whatever screen size you're on. So yeah, responsiveness is literally how will my product show on different devices. That's it. Whatever we're learning now is the behind the scenes to make sure it shows well. Are we clear? How will my product show? Auto layout for lazy Nigerian youths. Auto layout for proper design that is probably responsive and organized, so that whoever designer picks it up will not not pray against you, but quote and unquote, auto layout keeps files organized because if you delete something, it just rearranges, and it honestly just makes it easier. It doesn't mean you're lazy, it means you're more productive, and it means you're getting things done the right way, because there are still components and stuff like that where you rely on. So it's just wise to have your stuff, to use auto layout basically, because if you do it one by one, like you're wasting time, it's probably not aligned, and any small change just messes up a lot of things. So why see the problem and choose it, or why look at stress and choose it because you don't want to be lazy? Nah, that's not how it works. um okay, so yeah, Pfizer, these are things we should know that are mostly implemented by developers. Yeah, but yeah, if you put math in settings, maybe one of these days I can show you, it will actually calculate in the, like you put, let's say 5 pixels divided by 2, Figma will calculate it to 2.5, literally right there. So there's that as well when you're trying to calculate things. Yeah, I'll tell you how to smart work. Things to avoid. I don't know if there's anything to avoid. Just know what you're doing and know what you're creating basically. Because it's not everything. Just know what you're doing and know what you're creating. I think that's the best way to say it. It's something you use. It's not as if it's a by default. It's just something you use. You most likely use when creating stuff. Okay, so at this point, I don't say go online to check more, but auto layout is works with frames. Okay, so when you have two elements, remember our two rectangles, um, 5 by 5 pixel square, 5 by 5 pixel square. If you want them to be um what's this word again? Horizontally aligned, you can tap both of them and shift A or create an auto layout. So if I now duplicate any of the squares, everything that duplicates will be aligned. Like it's best for alignment, it's best for arranging your file, it's best for organizing your work, basically. I think that's just how I can say it. So if you now want to add another 5 by 5, it will just align vertically and all. So when I come back after the break, we'll address the questions. Thank you. Oh, okay. Let me just finish answering the question. So if you add another 5 by 5 square beside, like duplicate it, it will duplicate same in that horizontal alignment. Then if you change your mind and say, oh, I want everything vertically aligned, which is kind of how responsive design works, you can literally just go to Figma and change all horizontal to vertical, and it just swaps to vertical. So you don't have to start dragging and aligning and managing the spacing. And we say, oh, I want to increase the space, you can. I want to reduce the space, you can. So it just gives you control over your work. So that's kind of how auto layer works. It depends on how you use it, and there are like more features they've added to auto layout that you might need to learn individually. It's not just the basic up and left and stuff. So yeah, just check out videos. There are so many videos online that could be a great guide. All right, so let's go on our break so we can take our attendance. Thank you. All right, welcome back, everyone. So, yeah, I hope we're all on the same page right now. I'm just gonna continue. All right, so after this, we talk about fluid grids. Next is this. So, as stated, your containers are percentages instead of fixed values. So, we've talked about that. So, if you want a section of content to take 20% of a page. So no matter how large the page is, it would always take 20% of that page. No matter how small, it take 20%. Same with the 50%. No matter how large, take 50%. No matter how small, it take 50%. So that kind of covers for devices that are like in between all these, I mean, known and unknown brands that just happen to have sizes. It just fits just fine. And you can even have this something like this too for mobile and stuff like that. Okay. So this is an example where probably the response, like the entire website is center aligned wherever it's found. A bit different on the portrait and mobile phone, understandably, but for the laptop and the desktop is very similar and takes up an average of the same width and size of the screen overall. Okay, so let's move on to flexible images. So what is a flexible image? Um, it's your normal image, but such that it can show very well whatever screen it's on. Okay, so now I don't know how to explain it. It's still an image. It's just that if I cut out this part of an image or if I cut it into a box, it will fit just fine. If I cut stretch it out, at least a good amount of the part of the image I want to show will show. I don't think you can search for it, but just understand that sometimes how your images show on the web might change on the mobile. I think that's the best way to put it. So your image might be longer on mobile, might be thinner. I'm talking about height now on web, or might be more squarish, or might have to stay be smaller side by side, but may have to expand when you get to the mobile. So yeah, so you just set it in relative units. You can also use percentages, which you part this again, like I said at the beginning of this, most of these things are done on developer end, but you notice and sometimes when you are representing the mobile and the web view, you kind of have to show that okay, this is how it will look on the mobile. Then they can now code it or literally just copy your image and paste it depending. So yeah. But it's amazing when I've forgotten. I used to code actually, not crazy coding, but there was one HTML, I think bootstrap feature. So you just used to like rearrange, like you use for okay, column 2 or column 3. How many columns do you want? And then you can also set that for images and stuff like that. So the developers in the house can help me with that. Um, so yeah, so that would you can set percentages or just percentages or how it would behave on a different screen. So that's basically what flexible image is. Not a special type of image, it's just you um using percentages when you're coding it so that it will adapt to different screens. Then we have our media queries. One of us already mentioned that. So now media queries, from what I understood when I used to code, was um you can have a completely different design for mobile. Yes, a responsive version, but sometimes responsive version could have a column come, let's say a text come before an image, but you know we read from left to right. So when it's arranging, usually like left, right, and then the right goes below, the left goes on top. One, two, one will stay on top, two will come down like that. But sometimes on the mobile, you want two to be on top and one below two. So cases like that where you want two to be on top and one below is where you kind of okay for this screen size, this the thing. Now we know screen sizes because of frames which have been defined in Figma, or you can go to google.com. What is the screen size for a phone, a default phone? And to tell you it's between this size and this size. In code, which is not really your business, but your business when you are designing in like a phone frame, you say, oh, when is between this screen size to this screen size. So it could be a phone, it could be a fold phone, it could be a fold tablet that turns into a phone. So far, you guys know fold tablets that turn into a phone. I think that's the best description of responsiveness ever, because everything on the tab appears on the phone once I close it because the screen size has changed. That is like the best description, to be super honest. So yeah, media queries come into play where you're like, okay, so for the phone size, which is between this size to this size, show this particular code. For tablet, this size, show this code. For desktop, this size to this size, show this code. And for desktop can be like minimum is this to infinity, show this code. So that it won't be constrained, you can just like the code here, can say okay, minimum width is this, minimum width is this. So it's kind of setting limits without putting where it stops, so that when it's like 0.999 it will still show mobile, but when it changes it will expand. And again, if you want to test how responsiveness works on your laptop, when you are viewing something, maybe like your email now, you can just like drag it. You know how you resize windows or websites on your screen, how you'd like literally drag it and drag it left or right, like bring it out from the Google Chrome establishment, or create a new tab in here. Create a new tab, maybe type in whatsapp.com or whatever. Then you can now resize it. If you resize it to like a phone, that means you're not dragging it to the end. So it's like a phone size. You see that the view will change. It maybe to probably tell you, you're going to download on Play Store or Apple Store, because it believes there's been a media query to say, show this for this size and show this for this size. I hope that makes sense. And if it's a website, you just see the mobile version of the website. And if you stretch it out again, you can even see, okay, this is the iPad view, then this is the desktop view. So you can play around with that, and that can also help you learn more about how responsiveness works. Just take a website, drag, like squeeze the browser so it's like in the shape of, like literally just take your mouse to the side so you see the arrow button, then drag, then you see it in mobile view. You see how it looks in mobile. You can drag a bit more, you see how it looks in desktop, and drag. That's to show you it's the same site, like they're not changing the site, it's the same thing, same code, but they've put instructions that okay, when it's within this screen size, or when it's within this measurement, show this. When it's between this measurement, show this. When it's within this measurement, show this. Because a case where you squeeze it and there's nothing showing, it means it's not responsive. Probably there's a different design or a different code controlling it. So yeah. So that's what media queries are for. They're just to show, okay, for a particular screen size, show this. Then mobile first approach, we kind of mentioned this. So mobile first approach is basically designed for the smallest screen and go on to the larger screen. This works perfectly for mobile applications. So let's say WhatsApp. I believe WhatsApp started from the phone before it went up. This is a BlackBerry. It started from the phone before it went up to have its own WhatsApp web. Same with Telegram and the rest. Because the target audience was mobile, the first application was mobile, it just made sense. But platforms like Facebook, as we earlier mentioned, when it started as a desktop. So desktop, and then they created the mobile version for it. So even if, yes, creating responsive designs is kind of very much easier when you are going from mobile to desktop. At the same time, depending on what you create, the product you are creating, the target audience, and the function of that product could have you take a desktop first design instead of a mobile first design. Don't say because Shikemi said mobile first approach, they'll want to do the mobile dashboard before I do. Nah, that cannot work. So depending on what you're creating would determine if you should use a mobile phone. Like it's not set in stone. It will determine if you should use a mobile first or a desktop first approach. All right, so this is the last part of our class. 4 C's of responsive design. 4 C's of responsive design. Okay, so let's start with the first C. And this, I mean, we're already coming to the end of our class. So 4 C is content. Content, everything on your website, text, image, video, everything that you can read, you can find, no matter what device people use, everything you can understand and is represented is content, because content makes up the interface. And yeah, this information or this content is represented at different positions depending on the device. So let's look at Amazon. We both have Amazon here when it's opened on a phone and when it's opened on a laptop. On the phone and laptop, I can see the product. So content now, yes, what you see, but then like I said, when it comes to product design, you're intentional. So it's not just what you see, it's what you see that matters. Okay, what you see that matters. So now if you look at both platforms, both of them are telling me to buy, like this is the product page for if you want to buy whatever that is, maybe a speaker or something. Okay, so from both I can see the product. This is just the white version and the black version, so it's the same thing. I can see the product, I can scroll to maybe choose the best color I want, I can see the name, I can see the rating, which are important things that will influence my decision to buy. I can see maybe free shipping from Prime or whatever. I can see the main information. So now, after the main information has been shown on the mobile, and here I can now start scrolling and looking for reviews or looking for other options. But the cocoa of, okay, this is what you want to buy, this is maybe the price or whatever, everything is showing at a glance. Like the content, the important content is shown in the mobile, is shown on the web. On the web, does not have problem, everything can show. But on the mobile, is shown in the order of importance. So whatever is important shows first, and then you can keep scrolling to view more. So that's where content comes in. So when you're creating a responsive niche, you also need to note that, okay, which content is important and which one should show more, which one is actually serving a purpose, especially on the first glance, or especially when you're moving from a small screen to a big screen or a big screen to a small screen. Next is context. So I've seen content and we're looking at context. So context is how and where people use your website or your application, your digital product. Now this is the device and they are using it and the environment they're using it, which also kind of brings us to user experience. So, and then we've kind of touched it basically. Your responsiveness kind of depends on, one, your target audience, and two, what do they even use to view whatever your digital product. Are they using their watch? Are they using VR glasses? Are they using TV? Are they using phone? Are they using laptop? Are they using monitor? Monitor has different sizes. Let's not even enter that. What are they using to view your product? So that's the context. Context is what are they seeing. Context is what are they using to view. Then where are they viewing? Some got no patience. So for example, if your digital product is like maybe register for a lottery, they don't have time to start reading description. Like they just want to put their name and know that they qualify for the raffle draw and go and sleep. So they're probably in a hurry. Get me the results, go. And then maybe if it's a hospital thing, it's probably more okay. First person will look at it, second person will look at it. So just basically environment, they're using it? Would they be looking at this in their office? Would they be looking at this during their break time? Someone will probably watch TV when they want to relax, and this could be probably maybe in the night after a long day, or in the afternoon, maybe if they are taking a break. So you kind of consider these things: where and how and through what are my users using my use going to view my products. So that's what determines the context, and that's determines so many things ahead too. Then compatibility. This is where you ensure that your products, I'm swapping website with products because it's not just websites. Your product works well on different devices, web browsers. Yeah, I don't know if we've come across any website that will say cannot open on this browser. Use maybe Chrome, um, Firefox, Mozilla. Like, don't use Edge, or don't use, I don't even know, don't use Safari. So, but then obviously we're trying to reach as many people as possible. So we want your website to be compatible on different web browsers. Everybody should have a similar experience no matter how they access it. So just like here, if they're accessing on the phone, let it be similar to they're accessing it on the laptop. And we look at Dropbox, the layout should fit to each device, and all the features should still be available. Not because that I access on the phone, like as much as can be available, unless, like I said again, the service requirements mentions something different or doesn't allow that, is when okay, oh, we can see some features on the web we can't see on the mobile, or we can see on the mobile we can't see on the web. So that's that. Or maybe the device, maybe like something like mobile now, it has back and front camera. Laptop only has front camera. So if I'm accessing Snapchat on my laptop, it may not allow me to take pictures, or if it's taking pictures, it's only restricted to front camera. So those are options like that. So, but then as much as your application can be compatible, let's be compatible. Is that our silence? I hope we're learning, So Dropbox. So another looking Victor, this your English. Let me finish explaining first. Then also in terms of compatibility, where we're like, okay, whatever you are doing on your web, you can do on your mobile and mobile on your web. The best benefit of this is you can just pick up from where you stopped. Okay, you can literally pick up from where you stopped. So if maybe you uploaded something to your Dropbox website, like the example I gave, like you can send something to yourself and download it on your laptop through WhatsApp web. It's the same thing. Just continue from where you stop. Like everything is just intertwined, beautiful, working at the same time simultaneously. It's not as if I'm accessing a different product. It's the same thing. So it's working in real time. So if someone sends something on Dropbox, you can download on your laptop, you can download on your phone. Everything is easy. So this is just a view showing phone and laptop. Definitely, like I mentioned, because of different devices, the way their navigation is displayed differs, and sometimes the way they organize the information differs, but the function should still be the same as much as it can. How does environment affect the context in mobile devices? Environment, like, what can I use now? I think like the initial example here, um, maybe on my way to work, I'm replying messages. So the context of when I'm developing is like, oh, I'm designing is like, oh, my user is relaxed, or my user has time. If I'm busy, I probably won't open Instagram, is a distraction. But when I'm free, I can be scrolling Instagram. So Instagram can take one minute of my time to be watching reels, no problem. But someone like maybe, which one will I use now? Something like this quiz, perfect. Someone like Slido now. You can't be doing quiz and be shuffling. You can't be, maybe it's not when you are dancing, not when you are gisting. You have to be concentrated, because after 1 minute, the question will go. And Slido knows that. So one, so that everybody will be focused, That's why we have timed quiz. And two is all at the same time. So everybody is happening real time. Not that it will activate at 2 o'clock for this person, it will activate at 3 o'clock for this person. It has to ensure that everything is happening in real time. So I think that's kind of how environments can influence. So when you're working on Studio, you have to be focused, no distractions. But when you're on Instagram, you're relaxed. So whoever developed Instagram can develop on the premise of, oh, my users, even though they have short attention span, they are most likely relaxed. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so let's finish. We're almost done with the slides. So the last C, remember there are four C. The last C is conversion. So we've spoken about um we've spoken about context, we've spoken about compatibility, and the last is conversion. So the point of everybody visiting your site is you want them to do something. You want them to buy something, you want them to view something, you want them to take an action basically. So do you want them to send a message? So this is just like make your call to action easy. Let me spare you all the explanation. Make your call to action easy and straight to the point. If you're an email platform, please, when I come on your site, let it be easy for me to reply and forget about the mail. To view, reply, and forget about the mail. If you're a WhatsApp platform, without even opening WhatsApp, let me even reply. So that's make life easy for me, and let me be able to do what I wanted to use your product to do. So, and also as we mentioned for that Amazon too, the main information is displayed so that whoever is coming to make a purchase can quickly decide and make their purchase. Not that they are coming and they are figuring out, like maybe after 1 2 minutes, I can't understand. I'll say, oh, when I find a computer, I'll make the purchase. If I don't find a computer, I'll just say, oh, I'll quickly go to the market tomorrow, I'll look for it. And if I find it, whoever was selling that product on Amazon has lost a customer. So you actually want your call to action to be as clear as day, and let them do what they want to use your product to do. Make it easy and stuff like that. Okay. Okay, so I think we've come to the end of our class. Okay, so a case study here is Airbnb. Um, the cocoa of Airbnb is to rent an apartment. Let there be a clear call to action. Where are you booking from? What do you want to book? What type of apartment? How many people are staying? You get your option. By the time you click, you book. Happy person, happy person, happy merchant, or happy landlord, happy tenant, if that's the word. So everybody is happy. So just like Airbnb, there is a clear call to action. It stands out both on mobile and desktop. Everything supports the purpose of Airbnb, which is the whole booking process. And whichever, if you're using phone, you're using laptop, it's simple and quick. So you don't have to be confused when you're using any of the platforms. So let's go through the four C's. We have content, we have context, we have compatibility, and we have um conversion. Okay, so to conclude, and I've said it like 10 times, basically responsive design is let my product be as functional and useful. If it's a laptop or desktop, perfect. If it's a iPad or whatever screen size that fits that, perfect. And if it's a phone, perfect. Such that nobody will come and meet me and say, I wanted to buy, I could not buy. No, you could not buy, you chose not to buy. So that's it. That's everything about responsive design. Are we clear? Are we good? My mouth is already pinning me. Are we good? Are we on the same page? So we've come to the end of our class. So next is our Slido. So while people are joining, my mouth is really. While people are joining, let's start. Let's ask questions we might have, and then we'll start our quiz. Hmm. Yeah, do you have any specific question? Do you have any question? Let's be joining. No, don't say you didn't join the quiz. It's showing. You can scan the QR code. You can go to slido.com and put in this ID, or you can go to this bit.ly link. We'll be starting shortly. You can start joining in. Okay, so fluid grids is basically containers. What are containers? Blocks of information. Okay, so I think the whole concept about fluid grid, let me not confuse you with the name, is just how will block of information show differently on different platforms. Let's look at the example here. Everybody join. We can see the same information, right? Text, and then definitely we are designing for a responsive design. When you are designing these websites, it's just normal for text to be on the left, images on the right. And if you want images on the left, text on the right, you know the image will come first. Now I explain to you 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 will stack on top, 2 will come below, 3 will stack on top, 4 will come below. Or 1, 2, 1 will stack on top, 2 will come below. So it depends on how you want the information to show. Um so right now, I think for this now they probably did web first. Like the design I'm literally showing you now is a web first design. So they have the header, you have whatever your one-stop budgeting tool, you have the card image. When we go to the tablet, which is the next image, we have that it can show, but you can note the menu changes because now this is a touchscreen device with a smaller screen. It's not as wide as a desktop or a laptop, but it's wider than a phone. And then when we come to the phone, you can see that the image just has to come down because it can't be side by side. We want to read. And then also the call to action is showing. So when it comes to fluid grids, your stop budgeting tool to get started is a block of text. The card image is a block. This 10K 2M70 is another block. So these are three different blocks. When I'm now, or this, I don't want to call it grid, let me not confuse. These are three different blocks. When I go to iPad, I can still maintain those three different blocks. But when I go to mobile, those three different blocks become straight down because it just can't fit. So something that was left and right and straight has changed to straight down. So that's it being fluid enough to change to straight down. So I hope that explains. And then also when you're coding, okay, because now if you look at the websites like the desktop and you look at the iPad, for clarity, extreme left is desktop, middle is iPad, right is mobile. If you look at the desktop and the mobile and the iPad, it's the same information, but these are different screen sizes. So when it's displaying on the iPad, I want it to maintain, because an iPad can be 12 inches, an iPad can be 10 inches. I want it to display the same way it will display on 12 inches, the same way to display on 10 inches. So I can say, okay, this is your one stop up to get started. Wherever you find yourself on an iPad, make sure you are taking 45 or 40% of the screen. Okay, so we can share 5 in between. You are taking 40% of the screen. This block of card, wherever you find yourself on any iPad, make sure you are taking 40% of the screen. So now instead of saying maybe you are taking 10 pixels, you're not taking 10 pixels, you're taking 40% of the screen. So that when you weigh on a bigger screen, you still take 40% of the screen. Not that you now have extra space on a bigger screen. So because we're avoiding that extra space on a bigger iPad, because iPad can be 12 inches, it's not a laptop. You're avoiding that extra space on a bigger screen, is why you now use percentages, so that wherever it finds itself, it will still take that same width and height and size. So it's literally swapping out fixed values for percentages, and this is usually done in code. Your own is just to give them this. Developer will know that because their size is not represented here, I will fill in the gap with code by using percentages. I hope that explains it. The login code is here. Ha. Joseph, when should I add value clear content? Like if I create a login page for desktop, can I make the logo take half of the screen to make it clear, or should I center everything to make it responsive? What is the most valuable part of the login screen? That is the input. So they are not more focused on the logo. Their own is to put in their details and login. So the input and the button is what should show more than the logo. So no, your logo cannot take half of the screen. An image can take half of the screen, but your logo should not take half of the screen. I think I have, now this might disrupt what people are scanning, but I have like a slide that has a login screen. So maybe that can give you context. See, this is a login screen. On your desktop, there's more space. It's still the same image, circles, log into your account, blah, blah, blah. But on a mobile, it's more compact. So, and like I mentioned, the main cocoa is the login, is not the logo. So logo can't take half of your screen. But there's the logo is there, the text is there, the login is there. On the desktop is more spread out, but it's more compact on the mobile because of the screen size. And like I said, left, right. So whatever, when you just in your mind, just say 1, 2. So whatever is on number 1 or left goes up. Whatever is on number 2 comes down. As you can see here, circles and login to your account is number 1. Number 2 is the form. So when you bring it to the mobile screen, 1 goes up and form 2 comes down. So if you design the desktop first, you'd have, I'll also start the poll. I've not started it. I also hope I'm not having network problem. You have lost my train of thought. You have it so that if you designed the desktop first, it's just rearrange on the mobile. So this is where it's responsive, because wherever the developer, it just knows that even without seeing whatever is on the right, all he has to do is just rearrange it. And same way, if you start from the right, he knows it's just to maybe spread it out, like you're just working backwards to spread it out. So yeah. I want to start the quiz now. So I hope we have joined. Let me put it back on stop. I'll still answer everybody's question. If you haven't joined, it will be active now. Just be chill. Be patient rather. Okay. Oh, like this slide has a mind of its own. Okay. Okay, it's loading on my end. The polls will come. I honestly don't know why I'm having network issues. Okay. Alright, let's start joining. It's live. Okay, some people have joined. Okay, keep joining, please. Try again. I've put it on. For those that want need the link, let me just attach it. Okay, so let's keep joining. So the first question is going out now. Have we all joined? Everyone here join. Oh, the quiz is on. Number one is already there. If you're having difficulty, try again. It's probably network. Try loading again. Try loading again. Check for a good network spot. People are still missing these questions. Okay, so the first question is, what's a responsive design? It's an approach that ensures a digital product or website looks good on all devices. It is not a method to It's not a method to increase website loading speed or a technique for enhancing website security. So the next question is going up. Awesome, everybody got the answer here. Benefit of responsive design is to improve user experience across devices. How are you people? Hmm. I'm surprised people feel this question. Oh. The first thing of responsive design that I've been saying, compatibility, content, conversion, context. There is no color, there is no creativity, there's no even critical thinking, please, you people. Compatibility, content, conversion, and context. Next question. Not. This is a tricky one. I don't know. Hey, the answer is iPhone screen. It's not a content. Your iPhone screen is your hardware, is your device, it's part of your device. Content is text, images, videos. Email notification is something you can see and interact with. So it's content, like you're reading your email, which comprises of text and images. So it is the answer here is iPhone screen. Okay, the last question. Ha! I can see you guys' live responses, and I'm like, okay, so the answer is media tiles. The only thing we talked about was media query. So I mean, we literally, after explaining fluid grid and flexible images, a lot of us, about 21, I mean, 7 plus 2, about 22 of us still chose between flexible image and grid. The only thing that is not a way a user products can be responsive is media tiles. which it can if you think about it, but then it's like grade, not media 12. So no. Ibuku. Ibuku. Our top five is here. So we have Ibuku, Lagunju. Please forgive me for pronouncing your name this way. Taiwo. We have Coca. We have Jeffrey. We have David. Congratulations. We have every other person. I'm seeing a lot of 5 over 5. Well done. Well done. Well done. If you weren't able to take the quiz, don't worry, fear not. It's just a recap of what you've learned. Sorry, I've been bolo. Don't worry, next class you should be able to take the quiz. I hope we all noted the corrections. You can always rewatch this class again. I think I saw a question before. Let me see if I can find it. My screen is hanging. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm saying control plus think. In responsive design, how do we balance context and conversion when the user situation, like being in a rush or mobile, might reduce chances of them completing an action? I think this is thought of when you're actually creating your product, because your product is not changing because it's responsive. Your products can just be shown on multiple devices when it's responsive. So if your product is one people use in a hurry, probably you've kind of thought of that before and you've like removed all the space and there's like a clear call to action, like maybe join now or buy now or proceed or enter your name. People, if you're in a hurry, you don't even have time to enter your name. So maybe use your Google account or something. So like you've already thought about this flow when you're creating your products. You're talking about situation your user will most likely be in to use your product. It being responsive is just it can be viewed on multiple platforms. And if your product is something that people use in a hurry, you think, okay, what's the best place? Is it mobile or laptop or anything? So that's probably like the first place you create it on. And then you can now scale it up for other devices, like okay, maybe your phone attachments, like something like Siri. Now Siri works on a very short time circuit, like hello Siri, call somebody, or hey Siri, what's the time? It's not hey Siri, how was your day, my name is Shika. It's not like ChatGPT that you can sleep there and chat from now to tomorrow. Siri, once you don't say what you want to go off. So Siri showing on my phone, on my laptop, on my watch makes life so much easier. And the responses of Siri, either being voice or literally showing me something, the views have been aligned to show on my laptop, on my watch, or wherever, basically. So that's what I mean. I hope that answers your question, Control. I think. Um, yeah, let me see if there are any other questions. So, like a purchase or sign up, should we prioritize simplifying content for mobile or finding new ways to drive conversion under those constraints? Yes, you should see how mobile, yes, you simplify, but that doesn't mean you necessarily have to remove functionality. You can just keep it in other places, like now sign up. Sign up is something that will probably be part of the menu. So it can be in the menu. So when they click on the hamburger menu, they can see sign up there. Or if it's a call to action, you can maybe have the hamburger menu, then you can have the sign up button, but it's most likely be in the hamburger menu, so you don't have problem. And then your make a purchase is like right there in the website or platform, so they can click on it regardless. So it's just being okay, how can I rearrange it to suit? And like I said there are different laws of um there are different laws of how you rearrange for mobile, how you rearrange for web. Like if we look at this image now, The header is different for three of them, but all three of them you can do exactly the same thing. Like see sign in here, like your question, sign in here is not inside, it's not showing in the mobile, but it is there. When they click on these three dots at the top right, they will see sign in and they can sign in. So, and then the next call to action is get started, which is also sign in. But assuming that get started was purchase or register or whatever, which it is, you can, that one is showing directly, so you just for you to click on it and go on with what you have to do. Responsiveness doesn't, if it's responsive, your app is not changed, it's the same. It's when it's not responsive that it's different. So, and it's in rare cases where probably, like I said, some features will be in one, will not be in the other, but it should not be that way. Are there any other questions? I think okay, I have like 1 minute left. Auto layout people always in a hurry. They don't have time to read descriptions. I'm not sure about your definition of auto layout, Philip, but if you don't read description, that is bad because you're not paying attention to detail and you're a designer, which paying attention to detail is a core skill. Yeah. What is SEO and advantages? I think I covered that in class. It's for finding yourself on Google or your product being found on Google, the right keywords, and how your platform works basically. Okay. For submitting the assignments, the coordinators will get back to you. Don't worry, if you miss the quiz, it's fine. It's not test, so it's quiz. You'll still have your hands-on um execution of tasks and stuff. All right, so thank you all. I think we are done. I think we're done. Um, Once again, my name is Oluwashekemi Adeyemo, and if you have any questions, I'll see you guys again on Wednesday. So, and again, you can actually literally send me a message on LinkedIn or send a mail to me. If I don't reply, please send again. I'll see you guys. Prince, Prince, kindly rewatch this video concerning SEO. You can go on Google or YouTube, they will explain in more detail. So thank you guys. God bless you and have a great night. Send another message or respond. Thank you. God bless you.